Well, you're looking at a 1950 Chevrolet pickup truck. And of course, this is part of the Thrift Master series that ran from 48 all the way to first series 1955. I love them. I call them the fat-fender trucks for obvious reasons. And this is unquestionably one of the most collected, restored, and resto-modded pickup truck ever. And you can see why. The lines are just beautiful. I love everything about them. The only thing that I never have liked about them is you can only take one person with you. And that's cool most of the time. But when you get to be my age, you're in the grandkid business and you've got grandkids. Or you might want to take friends with you. Simply put, Chevrolet did not build a capacity for more than 2 people, unless it's, of course, a small third person. Now, this has been resolved in this build. This is really a super cool, one-off, one-of-a-kind, custom build that builds what Chevrolet should have built if they had thought about it, I guess, and that is a stretch cab additional passenger capacity vehicle. And that's what this is. It's got a rear seat, and I'll get in there in a minute and you can see how much room there is. I'm an adult, I've got leg room. It's super comfortable. Now, what's cool here is the geometry on the body. It looks like a factory build truck. If you look at this, instead of being the traditional 5-window, which it is, it's a 7-window. It's got 2 additional rear side windows that make it a 7-window. And it's just super cool. It really is, critically as you look at it, it just comes up looking like a factory build. So look at these pictures closely at every angle and you can see what I'm talking about. It's just super impressive. Now, the wood bed on this truck is also gorgeous. It's very artistically done. It's, of course, not like the factory would have done it. It's much nicer, and this is more of a show driver that everything that you look at is impressive, including the running boards. The running boards are really impressive. They are structurally super sound, very well supported. Just take a look at the pictures. Some heavy metal under this truck. The fabrication work, to me, looks like it was really well done. So it's got a very nice rigid frame with a Camaro front clip. Now, the Camaro front clip, if you're familiar with it, is a real typical upgrade for these trucks. It works quite nicely. You get a very modern feeling truck in terms of steering and suspension. Now, this truck has been updated, of course, with 4-wheel disc brakes. So it's disc brakes front, disc brakes rear. And as we look under the engine, look under the hood at the engine bay, you'll see a lot of other nice, cool features. Come check this out. Well, here's the engine bay, and it is obviously show quality. There's just no telling how much money was spent under here or how much time, but it shows. It's absolutely gorgeous. Everything is plated to show quality condition, including this beautiful front runner system. It's just very impressive. It's a throttle body injection motor, small block Chevy. Just a good looking system. I'll fire it up and let's listen to it run. Pretty sweet. Let's look at the interior and then we'll go on our test drive. Okay, you got to check out these doors, how nice they open and close. Listen to this. Ha! Check that out. I mean, you don't get that in a modern car, much less a 60-year-old pickup truck. So check out the interior. There is a very comfortable 60/40 bucket seat with an armrest. The front seats fold forward so you can climb into the back. There's a bench seat in the back. And of course, it's dark in the back because it's tinted all the way around, and that'll help you a lot on your air conditioning. If you live in a place where air conditioning is not important, you could remove the tent if you don't like the tent. But it is dark with the tent, but that's just the way tinting is. It's a beautiful cabin. What I like about it is modern and updated, but it doesn't stray too far from looking very truck-like and really almost vintage-like. It's luxurious, of course, because it has what appears to be leather throughout, and I'm sure that it's not. I'm sure it's just a nice vinyl. Just an impressive truck. But take time to look at the pictures of the interior, and I think you'll get a good understanding of what it looks like. All right. Okay, we made it to the interstate on our test drive, and it's warm. It's actually warm today, but I've got the air conditioner blowing, and it's really kind of a quiet system. It's quieter than what I'm used to, and I'll put it on high. Okay, that's as loud as it gets. I'm sure you can hear that in the camera, but otherwise, the next notch down is really quiet. Okay, here we go. So it's 65 miles per hour out here. We'll run it up to 65. Okay, we're going up 65 miles per hour. And let's see, at 65, it looks like we're tacking, a little over 2,000, about 2,400, 2,500 RPM. So that's not bad. It's the 700 R4 overdrive transmission. And we're going 70 and easily going by the traffic here, so I'll slow down. Okay, let's turn off the interstate and go through a little neighborhood drive here. This thing steers easily. Of course, it's a power steering, so no problem there. It's a nice driving truck. I like the gauges. The gauges are very similar to the factory gauges. They're analog, and so they're very traditional looking. Of course, they're modern gauges, and incorporated into the miles per hour gauge, you'll see you have a fuel gauge, gas gauge, and a voltmeter, and your odometer also, showing 165 miles. So that's about what this truck has traveled since it's been buttoned up and finished. In the other gauge, you've got RPM at the top. Very cool. I love having an RPM gauge. You've got a water temperature gauge, and we're running about 145. And we'll report back on that after we've been in the truck a little bit longer. So we just started this little test drive, showing looks like a little over 40 pounds of pressure as we're cruising along here. So you know exactly what's going on with that motor, and that's always very nice. Okay, it's getting a little cold in here, so I'm going to cut it back down to low. The AC system's configured quite nicely. The vents are right on you here. One on my left and one on my right, and then one on the passenger side. So there's no problem heating and cooling. You know, another thing I love about this truck is really the dash has a very original presentation. It hasn't deviated too far from its original look. It's the same color as the darker color outside, which blends as you look across the hood. It's really very beautiful. It's got a updated radio that's got a little insert mount that's for this truck. Of course, it's got a tilt wheel, which is nice. You can adjust the steering wheel to suit your driving preferences. I like that. It's a modern day steering column, and steering wheel is very comfortable to the grip. Well, as we're cruising along here at 25 miles per hour through the neighborhood, this is an incredibly quiet truck. It's the insulation. It's got a beautiful headliner, and I'm sure there's insulation on the other side of that. Of course, really nice rugs. I'm sure there's insulation under that, and probably in the doors as well. So it's substantially quieter than a factory truck would be. It still has some of the door knock sound, you know, as these old trucks inherently do from this vintage. But other than that, it's quite impressive. You can certainly carry on a conversation with your friends. And when we get onto the interstate, we'll see how much louder it gets. I don't think much louder, but we'll check that out. But right now, it's just more of a modern feeling truck than a vintage truck, and I like that. There was a lot of effort put into making it that way, and I'd say they succeeded. Okay, so we're back to the interstate, and I'll give it a little gas, show you the acceleration. I won't stomp on it. It's not a race truck. It wasn't built to be a race truck, but of course, you know, with the throttle body fuel injection 350, it's got a little bit of power, and I would say certainly adequate power. Get out here and Okay. Let's see, we're already close to the cruising speed of 65 miles per hour, and we're there. So it has no problem running with traffic, and let me see, take it up to 70. Okay, so we're cruising at 70 miles per hour, a little faster than the rest of the traffic, soon to pass everybody up here. You're running about 2,700 RPM, not bad. Slow down here and turn back into the property here. Well, I hope you enjoyed that test drive. This is a cool vehicle. I've been looking forward to driving it. The friend that had this built or was involved in the second stage of the build, I think did a good job and came up with a very unique, very cool vehicle that I've never seen its equal. And certainly this would be a blast with friends and family. Well, listen, if you enjoyed the video, then click like and subscribe to our videos and come back often. Thank you. Adios.